Welcome to the Owning Your Sexual Self podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Main, awesome wife and dog mom for life. I'm a sex therapist turned sex coach, and I run a successful business selling relationship enhancement products. I absolutely love talking about all things sex. So you can expect this podcast to explore all things related to women's sexual health because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you discover and embrace what brings you pleasure so that you can own your sexual self. If that sounds good to you, then keep listening and let's fucking do this. You guys, I truly cannot. I am just so incredibly grateful for the people that I have in my life and the friends that I have and how fucking badass they are. I truly, to look at my circle, to look at my extended circle even, oh my God, I'm just glowing in gratitude over here today. We're also recording this episode on June 29th, Wednesday, June 29th, which is we're just coming off the new moon in Cancer. I had an amazing women's circle last night, so I'm just feeling just all the energy, all the, just all the gratefulness, all the gratitude, all of the love, all of the kindness, all of the growth. And that is exactly how I would sum up our guest today, Denise Marsh. You've heard her on the podcast before. My gosh, over 2 years ago, I remember recording with her. I was still living at the old house, so it had to have been more than 2 years ago. And I had to have her back because to see this woman's growth and transformation over these past several years, it has just... I swear, like recording right now, I feel like I'm getting tears in my eyes just even talking about it. And this is what she brings to women in her life and the people that enter into her world. And Denise does have a signature program that she will definitely talk about on this podcast today, as well as she's launching her first book this summer, which I cannot wait for her to share with you about this. I cannot wait to grab my copy of this and obviously have her sign it. Since I know her personally, which is so cool. So let me read you her bio so that you have a little bit more info. Her bio is definitely much different now than it was 2 years ago when we recorded. As I said, this woman's growth has just been incredible. So Denise Marsh, transformational mindset coach, speaker, and a published author. Oh, God, literally chills, you guys. Seriously chills. She works with women to increase their self-love and self-awareness so they can feel more confident in making their dreams and desires a priority. She mentors with passion, guiding her clients to effectively strengthen and elevate their mindset to new heights. With over 15 years of training and leadership experience in different organizations, a gift for making meaningful connections with diverse audiences, and a true calling for helping others own who they are and desire to be, Denise knows how to rock a platform, connect with individuals, and provide guidance so that others can live their lives on purpose and with love. Denise engages individuals and groups during her transformational services, including private coaching, online programs, retreats, her podcast, as well as through other platforms, and leaves them with the empowering tools and focused mindsets that they will use long after their experience with her. Denise is passionate about people, living life full out, and making a difference wherever she goes. She is especially inspired to help people take their dreams and themselves to levels they didn't even know were possible. When not speaking, hosting a retreat, or working with clients, Denise can be found traveling with her husband, connecting with her only daughter, snuggling with her 4 fur babies with a mug of hot tea, or reading a good book at the beach. Literally, truly love this woman, you guys. I cannot wait for you to hear today's podcast, and I hope that it fills your hearts and your souls with inspiration today. And again, just the vibe of her, the energy that she brings to this space is truly incredible. So thank you as always for listening to this podcast. I hope that you enjoy this episode, and let's dive in. I am so excited to have you, and we're officially recording now, so we're just jump into it. So what? Okay, I'm just, when I recorded your bio, I was like, I'm literally just like glowing with energy to see your transformation, and that word just kept coming up, and just seeing like the love and the light and the growth and the energy and all of that. And I was like, all of these words also describe who Denise Marsh is, like just such a great person to have in the world, and to be a coach for someone and help them along that journey. So I'm so excited, because this conversation gets to be so much different than it was the first time you were on the podcast, and we get to really talk more about you and your life right now. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be on here, and a lot has changed in the past 2 years, for sure.
Yes, I mean, so much. And so let's start there. Like, how, obviously we know you have, well, I'll let you go into it, but how did you get into transformational coaching? How did you even decide that it was going to be called transformational coaching? Like, tell, I want to hear like from the beginning, all the nitty gritty about it.
So, it was more of a personal journey that I didn't know was going to turn into something bigger. But I was struggling and challenged in a lot of my, what I call the selfies now, right? Like self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence, all the things, which a lot of us can relate to. And it was to the point where I was just searching for happiness, searching for peace of mind, searching for rest, just searching, and felt like I was in a rat race all the time. And, I just wasn't truly happy. I had happy moments. I had moments of joy, but I wasn't really fulfilled. Like I was just a lot of times going through the motions or working all the time, like nonstop working. And this was going on for years. It was times when I was working a few jobs at a time, and times when I only had one job, but it was just working a lot, feeling that I had to prove myself, to prove I was a good mom, to prove I was able to support my daughter, to prove that I wasn't a statistic, like proving, and I was just not living. And the year it all kind of shifted for me was the year a lot of things happened all at once. My brother died. My daughter graduated from high school. Him and I moved to Florida, and we were in the process of building a house. And all of that happened in the same year. Mm-hmm. And so when we moved to Florida, I was still grieving my brother and my daughter. I was also grieving this new role of a mom, being a mom of a child who was no longer a child in my care. Mm-hmm. She decided to stay in Illinois, and that I didn't expect to grieve that. It didn't even seem like grieving. It was just, I thought it was just really sad, but it was a new phase of life for me. And then when Tim and I moved to Florida, at the time I was with Pure Romance, and my business, before we moved to Florida, I was going back and forth to do parties and events and things like that. But once we actually moved there, my business definitely wasn't the same as it was in Illinois. And Tim had gotten a job right away. Our dogs were with my in-laws until we got settled. And so for the first time in forever as an adult, I was by myself a lot. Mm-hmm. So Tim was working, a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday. I didn't have any business. I was just by myself. My daughter wasn't with me. My dogs weren't with me. We were still waiting for things to come through with the house. So we were staying in Airbnbs and hotels. So I had nothing to think about or worry about. And so I started to get to know me all over again. And as cheesy as that sounds, it was the best thing ever for me. And at the time, I didn't realize that I was going through this transformational experience, but that's exactly what it was. And I got to know me all over again. I started to date myself. I started to get back into journaling consistently. I started doing things that just felt good. I didn't have an agenda, and for, again, years, my days were always scheduled. Like, I had something to do from the time I woke up until the time I went to sleep. I was busy. And so now I have all this time on my hands and no responsibility. So it was just this rediscovering of me. And through that process, I ended up getting a new coach. I ended up seeking out new spiritual guidance. just brief, and even that part was a big thing, was really tapping into what spirituality meant to me. And that had been a challenge with me for years because I was raised Pentecostal. You know, you go to church every Sunday, you go to church, you know, sometimes Tuesdays and Fridays through the week, and I was raised to believe a certain way. However, I wanted to, for over so many years, I always wanted to figure out what did I believe and what that meant for me. What did God mean for me? What does spirituality mean for me? So that transformational experience, it wasn't just dating myself and spending time with myself. I was really on a spiritual path to get to know Denise as I am today. And going through that whole experience, coming through it, and it was not easy. It was just an experience. I decided I wanted to help other women do the same. And because it wasn't about finding myself anymore or finding happiness. It was going through all of these experiences and realizing that there was a way for me to come to the other side of living life on purpose. And so I felt if there's other women out there who are struggling with this too, I want to help them get to the other side. I know it's possible to go from one extreme to another extreme. I know it's possible because I did it. And so that's how Redesign and Align from Within came to be. That was a long explanation, but that is how it happened. That's how it all started.
Yes, so beautiful. And I feel that I am so much on a similar journey right now myself. And, you know, I think that so many people that I've been encountering, you don't even know it when you're in it until it's like looking back and you're like, oh shit, like this is happening. Like I've been changing, I've been morphing, I've been growing and figuring out, like you said, like exactly who you were. And one thing that I found in my practices too that relates so much to this is it is the times when I'm able to get into my meditative space and just have that peace and quiet. Like you're saying, that's what you had when you were alone. No more distractions, no more business lady stuff, right? Like there was that time for the universe to come in and give you those downloads and really help you see who you were. And I think there's so much beauty behind that because as we go through life, you know, I'm learning this right now with learning through getting certified in chakras and crystals and all of that. And as we meet people in our lives and different experiences, they say that there's these cords that attach to the different chakras that we have. And we can literally lead people through doing cord cutting meditations, but that is so real. And these people and these experiences really shape who we are. So when you have this time to do this meditation, get quiet with yourself and really, like you're saying, redefine who it is that you are and get so real and raw and vulnerable with yourself to discover who that is. My God, like you are literally living proof, Denise, that when you do that and when you live into that purpose, like the wonders that can happen around you and the power that can come from that.
Yeah, and it's the thing too, and you hit it right on the head too when you said when we're in it, we don't really know we're in it. Sometimes, unless you purposely like, I'm going on a journey to find myself, but most of the time, we don't know we're going through these transformational experiences until we're kind of in it or out of it. We're like, oh wait, that happened. Okay. But it wasn't just the changes within me that happened, but around me. You know, it's so interesting. Like Tim and I have been together 15 years and I've told him so many times, I feel our relationship is way stronger now than it was before. Like when we moved to Florida, and it wasn't just because we moved to Florida, it was truly because I changed. And it wasn't that I changed me, it was how I changed the way I saw myself, the way I lived my life, the way I saw life. I had to end a lot of friendships. That was hard. That was very hard. And that was one of the things that just had to happen, you know, and it wasn't like, should I do this? Should I not do it? It was blatantly clear. These relationships are no longer for me. This is not good for me. You know, and just separating myself from different people and places and things and surrounding myself with the right type of people, places and things. And a lot of times you'll hear, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this too, with clients and just women in general when, you know, we talk about wanting to get better and women will say, well, I don't have time. You know, when am I going to find time to do that? I have kids or a partner or work or business and I have all these other things, you know, I don't have time to work on you, or what does that even look like? And it doesn't have to be like my experience. where you have absolutely no responsibility for the time. It could be just taking some time each day to say, what do I need? Like, what do I truly need right now in this moment? What's going to help me to feel better about myself, to see life better? Because for some odd reason, people tend to forget this is their one known life here on earth. Like, this is it. This is it. Your one human experience right now here on earth. Why the heck wouldn't you want it to be incredible? You know, but I also did it because I was once living in a state of mind where I didn't care. I truly didn't care about life at one point, or how I was in life, or how I showed up in life. I was that depressed at one point. You know, so I also get it. I'm thankful that I was able to finally get support and finally change things. But, you know, for those who are wanting to truly make a change in their life, you must seek some type of support, but you also have to be willing to do the work. Like, that's the thing. You have to be willing to make the shift.
Yeah, absolutely. And for women, I think that's so hard. You know, again, I think especially for moms or I would say for moms, for people in relationships, for people that codependency has been a very real thing throughout their entire life. That is such a hard thing to break through. And I think that first off, defining that for somebody, or making that a realization that this is a thing that, you know, asking a person, what is more important than you? And so many, you know, I've asked that to so many people too in the work that I do, and they'll list off a spew of things, right? My kids are more important than me. My job, my getting this laundry done is more important than my self-care, you know? And I'm like, when you really take the time to sit and think on that and really have that deeper thought happening behind that, there is literally nothing else matters except for us, right? And how we're like living life, like you said, that human experience. It's like, I just think of going to Cedar Point or something, or like I'm getting on this roller coaster ride, and it's like, the ride isn't like, I'm on the ride right now. Like, it's not fucking over. And you have to make it what you want it to be. And I love that. I love when people can have that moment of wokeness, basically, and that moment of clarity. Oh my gosh. It's true. It's incredible. It really is.
100%. And I had a friend who asked me, well, once he had asked me, how is it, you know, now that you're living in Florida? And this was about a year after we had moved to Florida. And she's like, so how is it? Like, now that you're like living in Florida, how is it? And I told her the best way to describe just my life in general right now is, it's as if someone gave me a new pair of glasses and I'm able to finally see. It was, it was as if I was like dropped into another world. And it was all because I changed. It was not about my husband changing or this changing or that changing. It was truly because I changed. And when people get to that point of realizing that we do have control over how we see our life, how we show up in our life. True, we can't control everything, but we absolutely can control how we show up for ourselves, others, and our lives. You know, and stop playing the victim so much. Like, woe is me. No, just do something different.
Yeah.
Change your ways.
Yeah.
Try to get that support that's gonna help you, because we can't do this alone. Like,
right.
I had lots of support, and I am thankful for every single one of them, because it helped me to get to where I am today. And I still have support. I will never be without support. You know, I have a whole support team, and it helps me even today keep going to just get to where I'm even moving forward next. But having that support and having the right type of support makes a huge difference.
Yes, I call them Team Rachel. I have my therapist, I have my, you know, my trainer, I have my friends, I have my masterminds, I have my husband, I have, you know, all of these people, my sister, that literally they make up Team Rachel. And I remember there was a point in my life when I was making a decision to get into therapy. It was like, something's missing, like something is missing on Team Rachel right now. And I'm not sure what it was. And talking with supportive people, that it led me to therapy. That was, I feel like, a monumental moment of my life, getting into therapy, continuing to do therapy. But this is my plug, that therapy is for everyone. But then more recently, you know, I would say last year, September is really when I've started this this spiritual journey for myself. And just recently, I feel like I've just had so much resistance to it. Just, you hear people talking about, oh, it's woo and all the woo woo stuff and crystals and all that, but this, whatever it is for a person, no shame in whatever it is for that person. If you're, like you're saying, for you, it was journaling, which can also be very woo for so many people too, But I think it's hard for people to make that realization that something is not going right in their life. And for so many of us, it's easier to just to sit in the shit rather than making the effort to make the changes. Because as you said, ending friendships, ending relationships, moving across the world, right? Ending careers, like these are very huge things that a lot of people, I feel, and they're going through this type of work, end up making. And you might not know that that's going to happen going into it, but you feel, and I'm sure you can relate to this, like you just feel that internal drive that this is the thing. Like you said, it's like putting on a new pair of glasses, and you just know in your heart, in your gut, in your soul that this is the right thing for you. And I think acting on that is truly just, it's incredible for people to do that.
Oh yeah. And those places, so the places that our intuition is guiding us to, or they call your gut is telling you this is the way to go. It's not always easy. Mm-hmm. It's not the easiest thing. If it was, everyone would do it, right? But it's sometimes getting to that point of, do I trust myself enough to follow through with this? And that's a big question. It's also kind of, thinking about it makes me giggle when I think about this. Wow, it's just interesting how people are so willing to trust other people and other people's opinions, but when it comes to trusting themselves, they second guess it. Mm-hmm. Like, this is like all the time. So what if instead of feeling the need to trust other people, you turn inside and say, what do I want? What do I need? If I quiet the noise and not try to hear what everyone else is saying to me right now and just tap into me, what is it that I want? What is it that I need? And if people take the time to do that, they would even see that a lot of the things they're doing are not the things they want to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that was another big thing too, that it came up for me a lot. And again, those decisions to do was what you're called to do. And we're called to do a lot of different things in different stages of our life. Leading to romance, I didn't think that would ever happen. Mm-hmm. Like, I did not see that coming. And so when it was clear to me, when it was burning in my spirit, like, this is what to do, I'm like, really? Why? What's about it? Why? But again, it's not about the thing we're leaving or the thing we're saying goodbye to or the person we're saying no more. It's not about them. It's about what we need, what's right for us in that moment. And so, man, it's not the sexiest journey or the easiest journey, but man, it's the most necessary journey when we're just truly loving ourselves enough to say, what do I want for my life right now? Mm-hmm. And actually going for it. That's so loving. Yes. So loving.
Yeah, I would actually recommend that for anybody listening right now, to get, if you're wanting to get started or even just see where this type of work could take you, asking yourself that question, what do you want? I was asked that recently as a journal prompt. And it's like, oh shit, like, what do I actually want? In the moment I was like, right now I really want a cheeseburger and probably a nap, but like, no, like, what truly in life do I want? And it's amazing to see when you can shamelessly write those things out and allow that to flow through you without that judgment or wondering what other people are going to think of you and, all the other unnecessary bullshit that we let cloud our minds. And you can then very blatantly see, like, okay, this is what I truly want in life. And what I'm doing is not that, right? What I'm doing is not getting me to the life that I want to live. And I really feel like then that's where this type of work, like you said, transformational coaching, redesigning from within, redesigning and aligning from within, right? I love that. And so when you start working with people, these people are showing up to you. They're already ready, right? They're not, it's not really taking you to convince them that they need to go on this journey. They're coming to you like, Denise, I've been watching your stuff. I'm feeling the feels, like I'm ready to do this work, right?
Yes. I actually will only work with people who are ready. So if they're not quite sure if they're ready, that they're probably not willing to do the work, then I'm not the coach for them. So the women that I do work with, they're ready. So it's more so they're ready, they just don't know what to do next, or they're just looking for the right type of support to help guide them through what they're going through.
Yeah. If you were to say, so if you were meeting with somebody that was on that fence, like, I'm not really sure, how would somebody get from that point to the point of being ready? Is there any tools or guidance that you give them in that time?
Yes, I ask them very pointed questions. So depending on what they're saying to me on that call. So if someone's interested, we'll get on a call, we'll talk about it. And I just ask them where are they with certain things. But, what led them to me, what led them to want support. So based on what they're saying to me, what they're asking me, I ask them very, very pointed questions to help pull more out of them to see where they are with their mindset. So it's not about if they've worked with someone before. That doesn't matter, like if they worked with someone before or not. It's more so, are they actually willing to do the work? Are they willing to make the necessary changes? So you can gauge a lot from one conversation with someone if they're ready to be on that journey or not. And sometimes, they may think that they're ready, but after asking some questions, you may discover that they're not, and then vice versa. Like, so if somebody get on the call and may feel like, I don't know if I'm really ready for this, but after asking questions, you may find, yeah, you are ready. So it really just takes getting to the point of listening to them, what they're saying, what they're asking for, and what they need. And it's it's the first time I had to tell someone no, I felt like I was letting them down, but then I realized that I'm not able to help everyone, but there's someone else. So thankfully, I know a lot of great coaches in different fields, so I can always recommend, like, hey, I'm not the one for you. However, I know someone who can help you. So that's always really cool too, that I know a lot of women who are in this field will help women in so many different ways.
Yeah, definitely good resources and tools to have in your back pocket. And it is I feel that. I feel I've had to also tell people no in my work and stuff, and it's actually quite a bit now that I'm thinking of it. If you look at my Instagram reels, you can only imagine the type of DMs that I get for people, quote unquote, looking to get help in this field. So, no has become a very comfortable word for me. But yeah, so that is boundary setting, right? Like what you were just saying, like boundaries is your jam. It's one of your most favorite things to talk about. So tell us, how do you help people set better boundaries, and actually give us your definition on what boundaries are and why they are so meaningful to people, especially when doing this work?
So boundaries, one, it's not something that was typically taught as children. A lot of the times it's the complete opposite, right? So first of all, boundaries, when you're setting a boundary, it's not necessarily about the other person. It's all about you, right? And so when we're setting a boundary, it's to simplify it, this is what I'm available for and this is what I'm not available for. And boundaries, there are layers to it. And when you think back to childhood, a lot of the time we were taught, go hug Uncle Sam even if he's creepy. You don't want to do that too bad. You have to do it anyway. And it's not even because I know best or because I want to get a hug. It's not giving children a voice a lot of the time. And also disregarding their feelings. So what happens is the children grow up to be adults who don't want to use their voice because they feel it's going to offend someone, feel that they have to do things with their bodies or with their minds that they're not comfortable with because that's what they were taught. But when it comes down to it is, if I say how I'm really feeling about this, I'm going to hurt someone's feelings, or they're going to be mad at me. And so you've now made it where someone else's feelings are more important than yours. And so when someone may say, well, why wouldn't you put someone else before you? Listen, if this is making me feel like uncomfortable or causing me some type of pain, whether it's emotional, spiritual, mental, physical pain, why would I disregard my own feelings just to make you comfortable? And so it's interesting, like the client calls I had today, every single client call I had today was about boundaries and the challenge that comes with it. Again, if it was easy, Everyone would be doing this. But what makes it a little bit smoother for us to implement boundaries is to know why we have those boundaries in place already. So, for example, a personal experience, my mom and I, we did not have the best relationship for a long time, and to the point where I was okay with not having a relationship with her. And we got to a point where either we're going to have a relationship or we're not. We tried to make things work, but what happened was I was trying to make her the way I wanted her to make her, and she was trying to make me the way she wanted me to make me. Right? And so we were kept butting heads. We weren't even listening to each other. We weren't trying to hear where the other was coming from. So we got to a point of having different types of conversations. And then those conversations led to creating boundaries. And so an example of one of our conversations, I told her in order, I love that we have been getting better with our relationship, actually communicating more. However, I can see that our relationship is kind of, I can say, taking a step back a bit. And so I would love for our relationship to keep growing. But in order for that to happen, there are some things that I truly need from you as my mom. And I would love to know what you need from me as your daughter. And so then she said, well, what if you tell me these things and I do them, but then you think I'm just doing them because you're asking to? I said, well, that's where free will comes in, right? I can say this is what I need, but you get to choose if that's what you want to do, if that's something you're willing to do or comfortable with doing. So that's an example of setting a boundary. So it wasn't just do this because I want you to. It was I'm telling you what I need for our relationship to grow, and in return, I also want to know what you need from me for our relationship to grow. So it's no longer about you need to be this type of mom and you need to be this type of daughter. It's hey, what do we both need in this relationship from each other? And that's it. So it's not putting these crazy expectations on one another or trying to change the other person, but it's coming from a place of this is what I need in this relationship. Another boundary that we hear a lot is saying no, right? Just no. No. And a lot of people, and I know you know this too, but I know you know this with your clients as well, and just again, people in general, saying the word no, period, is so hard for so many people. Because people feel they have to explain why they said the no, or why they don't want to do something. But by saying no, that's a boundary, no. Or even saying, I'm not comfortable with this.
No, thank you.
Another boundary is like if we're having a conversation and you say something and I feel offended, I can say, Rachel, when you just said that, I felt offended. Was that your intention? And then you have an opportunity to say, no, absolutely not. Okay, so what was your intention behind saying that? That's a boundary conversation. Because now we get to have this exchange of that may be uncomfortable or offended me, so I would appreciate it. Because now that you're telling me what you did intend, I can now in turn say, well, in the future, if you're wanting to say something like that, if you could please refrain from saying this or saying that one because it makes me uncomfortable or it offended me. But having that conversation where now you gain that knowledge of what's okay, what's not okay with that person. And it could be different trigger things like that as well. But when you have those conversations of getting a better understanding of what you're trying to convey to someone and also listening to them, that's having a boundary conversation.
Yeah. And so do you generally then don't give people a warning per se that, hey, we're going to have this boundary conversation. It sounds like it's something that can, well, I guess it could go either way. It can happen more organically, or it can be something like I'm relating so hard to the mom situation. Like if I'm wanting to have this conversation with my mom, would I give her a heads up? Like, hey, I would like to talk about our relationship and how we can be better mom and daughter people.
Absolutely. So you're right. It can go different ways depending on the situation. So for example, the conversation with my mom, I did give her the heads up. So mom, I really want to have if you have time, I really want to talk with you about our relationship. Do you have some time right now? So then she's like, yeah, I have time. What's this about? Well, I feel that blah, 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 blah. And then I go into my ask. So with that, it's not just dumping it on her if she has no idea what I'm talking about. It's giving her the heads up. It's giving her the intro to what this is all about. So that's a way to have the conversation, and then another type is where, like, if we're in the middle of a conversation and something's brought up that I'm not okay with or makes me uncomfortable, in that moment you have that right, you have that permission to say, I'm so sorry. When you said that, it made me feel blank. So, because a lot of times people don't do that, they just let it fester, and then they have resentment towards this person, or they're angry and they're carrying it around. When if they just spoke up and said, when you said that, it made me uncomfortable, or when you said that, it made me angry, or it made me sad. It's okay to say that, but for some reason, a lot of people are afraid to speak up, and a lot of times because they weren't able to use their voice for so long, or they were punished for using their voice, or saying things a certain way. So, I mean, it's time out. It's time for people to take back their power and use their voice. Say what you need. Say what you want. Because otherwise, you're missing out on truly having that peace and that joy in those situations.
Yeah. And what about for the people that are on the other side of the conversation? So the people that are getting presented with this other person's boundary per se, how can they in a healthy way accept that boundary? Or if, let's say if it's something that they're confused about, how would that conversation look, would you say?
That's where it can get a little sticky. I think because sometimes, I don't want to assume a lot of the time, but sometimes when you're having that conversation, the receiving party may not be in a place to accept it. They may not be in a healthy mindset to receive what that person is saying without getting defensive. So that is also another reason why some people just say, nah, forget it, I don't need to even have that drama. I don't even need to have this conversation, or just whatever. But going into the conversation knowing like this person may not receive what I'm saying, so let me say it in a way where they can understand. Let me say it in a way that as much as possible can get through to them, but also knowing that I'm not responsible for how they receive this information. You know, and with setting boundaries, it's not coming from an evil place or a negative state. It's you coming from a place of love for yourself, love and respect for yourself. So even coming to that person, you're not coming like, hey, this is what I need, you make me so safe, blah, blah, blah. It's coming from a place of, I need to share this with you. This is how I'm feeling. You know, but again, I've had a conversation with people who are wanting to have a set of boundary, and it did not go well at all. Like, not at all, right? And so that can feel a little scary for some people, knowing like, well, if I tell them how I feel or what I need, they may react in a negative way, or they may whatever. Yeah, that might happen. That absolutely might happen. However, if this is going to get you to a place of peace, if this is going to get you to a place where you feel better about the situation and you feel empowered because you use your voice to state your needs, it's worth it.
Yes. I already know I can see myself going back and re-listening to this podcast and taking all of the notes for future parental conversations that I would like to have.
You know what? I would say that having the boundary conversation with my mom has absolutely, and we've had, it wasn't just one. It wasn't just like, wham, bam, we're perfect. No. Right? We still have our limits, okay? However, our relationship now is so much different than it was before. It's way different. Way different. And a lot of it is, I give a lot of the kudos to having those difficult conversations. You know, but it helps us to grow. It helps us to truly get to know each other, and not so much as mom and daughter, but as woman to woman. You know, so that has also helped us as well, just getting to know each other as we are now, but also forgiving each other for the past. You know, so boundaries, sometimes that forgiveness needs to be a big part of it, depending on the person and the situation.
Yeah, I think of Brene Brown when you say that, like, people are just doing the best that they can with the resources that they have available to them in that moment. Yeah, and I think that knowing that and remembering that during your healing and during this type of journey can be so beneficial to somebody. So not to like totally change the pace here, but you have a book that's coming out. Tell us about this. Tell us about your book.
Oh my gosh. I am so over the moon about this book. So excited. So the book is titled Do It For Your Selfie. Alright, and so this is all about self-love, self-worth, self-confidence, self-validation, and one of my favorites, self-exploration. And so each chapter, I share a lot of stories from some of my clients in the book. I share a lot of my personal journey in the book, and each chapter is dedicated to a different selfie. So for example, self-worth. This chapter talks about what self-worth actually is, what it looks like for different people, where it stems from, and actually how to increase that self-worth, how we see and view our self-worth. And so it's a lot of understanding what this word actually means and how it applies to our life. And when I started writing this book, I truly wanted it to be a guide, a support system, your new bestie. Right? I wanted it to be a book that truly helps. So it is very, very, very raw, like very raw. To the point where I actually have different activities throughout the chapters and moments of taking a break, because some of the things that you'll read is pretty heavy, right? But also, the reason we have these stories in there is to show you real women, not celebrities, not people you have no reach to or whatever, but real women who've gone through real challenges, and to show their journey, how they were able to get to the other side. So again, the reason why we have those stories in there is because so many women and so many people really feel that, oh, no one understands me, no one gets what I'm going through. Like, my life sucks. Like, I have all these horrible things happening to me. My life will never get better. This is just how it is. And so this book is about love for ourselves. And so I love a play on words. And so I titled it Selfie, because a lot of the times when you hear the word selfie, you think of the picture you take with your phone and post it on social media, right? And so this book, I talk about how what you look like on the outside has absolutely nothing to do with anything if you are not okay on the inside. So this selfie is really about self, what's inside, what's in us. And so that's the most important thing to work on, is what's within ourselves. And so this book is really there as a helpful tool, a helpful guide. I feel very, very confident that the people who do choose to read this book, they will see themselves in one or more of the stories. And they'll be able to relate to a lot of the things that they read. One of my favorite things about the book are the activities, and it is because I believe that there is power to putting pen to paper. And I love to read. And there have been many times where I would read a book and I'm like, oh my gosh, that book was incredible. And then a month later, I'm like, wait, what was incredible about it? What was my favorite part again? Whereas with this book, I really, truly want the readers to take in what they're reading and be able to reflect on it right then and there. Because then it will stick more with them. So it's not just reading a book for pleasure, it's reading a book for change.
Yeah. Gosh. I'm so excited. So how can we get the book? When does it come out? Tell us all the things about that.
Okay, so fun news. I will have some advanced copies, and then it goes public. So the advanced copies, I'm only going to do maybe about 200 of those, and for one, that is because I'm shipping them up to my home. But the advanced copies, those the sales for that starts in July.
Yay!
So July 2022. That's when the sale will start for the advanced copy, and those will start shipping out between August and September. And then, so that way if people want to get it before the public, it comes with an alternate cover, it comes with a couple of cool goodies, and a couple extra bonuses. And then it will go public, where you can pre-order it in October, and it will ship out in November. And it will be available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target.
Oh my God.
Walmart and a few other sites. And we're also in the process right now of getting it into bookstores at airports and other bookstores. So it's going to be available in a lot of different places, but immediately it will be available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart.com starting in October.
Incredible. Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely sign me up. And when I was recording the intro, I was like, I obviously need to have a signed copy from Denise. Like, I need a physical copy, not something I want to just listen to on Audible. I need a solid copy. This is my friend. I want to support. So yes, please add me or tell me what I need to do to get onto I'm going to just consider it the VIP list. So thank you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Rachel. I'm so excited about this. It was a journey. Mm-hmm. It was definitely a journey, and a lot of parts were very scary. Writing the book, and there's a lot of things that I share in there, and I actually asked my daughter for permission. So a lot of the things that I share are, again, really, really hard to read, and I was not going to put them in the book unless she was okay with it. So I called her and said, hey, here are a few things that I want to put in the book. Are you okay with that? Mm-hmm. And she said, Mom, this book is supposed to help people, right? I said, yes. She said, well, you got to share the hard stuff. I'm okay.
Ugh. Goosebumps. Oh, gosh.
I'm very, very excited for this book to truly help the people. I really am.
Yes.
That's the main goal, is for this book to help in some way. Mm-hmm. In some way. And that's what I want.
Yeah. And you certainly will. I already know, like I said, for knowing you as long as that we've been friends, and the work, just everything, your growth, your transformation, everything has just been so incredible. You are such a breath of fresh air to be around people and to have in this world. So thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for coming on this podcast and sharing these helpful tips with people. I think that grabbing your book is going to be a great start for anybody that's wanting to go on to this journey, especially if you're in that I'm not sure if I'm ready phase. Yeah, just so much gratitude. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for you, Rachel, for having me and asking me to be on here. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, wait. If people want to find you on social media or get on your newsletter, anything like that, oh my gosh, the most important part of this, how can people find you and connect with you?
Yes. So my newsletter is where I'm most active, and the best way to sign up for my newsletter is to find me on Instagram. It's Denise Marsh _ That's it, Denise Marsh _ And when you go into my link tree, you'll see my links for my podcast, newsletter, my journals, all the things. So my newsletter is where I'm most active. So if you want to be in the know with all the things, sign up for my newsletter.
Incredible. Yes, I just got a newsletter from you today, actually.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you loved it, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a thing. And if you loved it so fucking much, be sure to leave a 5-star review. I'll see you next week, and until then, keep owning your sexual self.